Welcome to another edition of our video podcast developed to educate parents about resources to help themselves and their families, and especially their children, in the solution of problems and the pursuit of an education. With me today is Deputy Carlos Cuevas, who's going to tell us about his role in our Hillsborough Sheriff Office, but in addition to that, will tell us about what he does on behalf of the Latino community. Deputy Cuevas, wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me here.
Please share with us what you do in your office. I found that absolutely mesmerizing.
Well, our office is fortunate enough to have a contract through the Department of Children and Family Services, where we're contracted to provide services to Haitian and Cuban immigrants within our county. And it's a very rewarding program because we're able to make contact with a lot of these people who come from other countries, able to teach in classes, share different things with them. And it's really gratifying. Great program.
That's the sense I get when you first shared this information with me, and I'm glad that we are sharing with everybody. I have to take a step back and ask you about all the different programs, because you mentioned education, you mentioned support. What do you mean by education? Do you provide classes to them? Do you refer them to resources? How does it work?
We do both. We have programs where me and my partner Marilyn Padron, we go out, we make contact with some of these individuals. Some of them are trying to get their GEDs, they come from other countries. Some of them are trying to learn English, ESOL classes. We also teach children with ESOL classes. So what we do is we basically go out there, we educate them on the basic laws, domestic violence, age of consent, driving, what to do if you're stopped by a police officer, if traffic stops. And we make contact in other areas where we refer them to non-for-profit agencies that will help them if they have any issues.
And you help them in both English and their language?
Well, most of us speak English. We do have a translator that helps us with the Haitian language, but most of us is in English and Spanish, mostly in Spanish.
I see. So if, for example, an immigrant person from Cuba who does not speak English needs to learn about issues related to concerns that they have, they can contact you.
Oh, absolutely. Our office is there's 3 of us that work at our substation, and all 3 of us speak Spanish. So the Spanish language at our office is what we speak, and we speak the English, language too, but Spanish is what.
Wonderful to hear that. Now, many times, of course, newcomers, families who immigrate to this country may not know the laws of the land, if you want to put it that way, and therefore they may get into either difficult situations, or they may face obstacles in understanding how to reach specific goals, etc. Now, even though those are not necessarily police matters, okay, I get the sense that you still can sort of provide some information to them and also connect them with resources?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people call us for all kinds of different problems they have, not specifically law enforcement related. Sometimes they'll call where they have a problem with a child. The child comes from another country. They're used to having a certain control over that child in their country. They come here, the child gets involved with other kids, sees different freedoms in this country, and gets involved with the wrong crowd, and now the parent's having an issue trying to correct his behavior. So we get all kinds of variety of different calls.
I can imagine. Now, if a parent wants to contact you, how they go about doing that?
Well, our office number is area code 813-801-6736, and like I said, everybody speaks Spanish here, and we're happy to field any calls and try to assist them in any way we can.
So wonderful. Now, I imagine that many parents, when they are transitioning from one country to another, for example, or trying to learn, as I said before, the rules of the new society they are engaging in or involved in, they may face a number of difficulties, and of course, the adaptation stress, for example, will have an impact in the children's behavior, in the academic performance of the children. So if I were to ask you, what advice would you give to parents to help their children, pursue an education, stay in school, and hopefully pursue a higher education, what would you say to these parents?
I would definitely say involvement in a child's life from an early age. Be involved with that child. Let them know from early age that they can do anything they want, but it has to be through education. You need an education to be able to fulfill your goals. Give them goals. Let them know that you've accomplished one goal. You may have a short-term goal, and then you may have a long-term goal, but you can do anything you want. Be involved in their school. They get bad grades. They're having problems with a certain class. Go to school and speak to the teacher. Involvement is the biggest thing. Also, the biggest thing that I see is that know who your children are with. Know who your children's friends are. Make sure they have positive friends. For me, I see a lot of kids that get involved in trouble. They get involved in criminal actions. They have no leadership. You need leadership. Kids need to be guided, but they also need positive environment around them. You have a positive environment at home. Your kid goes to school and becomes involved in a negative environment. Now he's pulling both ways. You need to have them around. Know who your children's friends are. And make sure they're positive too.
So the children's company becomes a very influential factor.
I believe so, and I've seen it in a lot of kids that have gone through the juvenile system, where they weren't bad kids. We could have a conversation. They were good kids. They made mistakes because they got involved with the wrong crowd.
See, a lot of time people mention those things almost like a cliche of the idea of the wrong crowd. But what I sense you're saying is that the crowd does have an impact on the children. So parents need to counterbalance, if you want to put it that way, any of those negative influences. And the more the parents know about who their children are with, and the more they understand that those are good kids, the better the outcome.
Oh, absolutely, they need to know. Because remember, even though the child may not have been the person who committed the crime, he may have been in a vehicle when somebody else committed a crime. And for Florida state statute, they may charge him as an accessory or charge him as with the same amount of criminal behavior as the other person. So he may not be the bad kid who committed it, but he's around bad kids who are committing crimes and can be charged.
What are the most common situations that you have faced? I know that because of the group of families you're working with and people you're working with, there should be a variety, but any particular issues that become sort of most salient to you?
One issue is that sometimes when I worked on the streets, we had calls where the parents would call and the child's misbehaving. And I have no problem talking to children. I mean, I enjoy talking to kids. I mean, I think that through me communicating with them, they may change their behavior. But remember, I'm one person. I'm going into your house, into your residence. I'm maybe spending a half hour, an hour with this kid, telling him about the wrong things in life, where he's had a lifetime within your household. I mean, I can change some of his way of thinking sometimes. Sometimes it's just, it's the upbringing. You have to start from little. You have to show these kids that that you're involved with them, you care about them, and that right from wrong you're gonna help them, but they need to make the right choices.
I hear you. Now, is there anything else that I should have asked you and I haven't?
No. I think that you've covered everything. I mean, I think that the biggest involvement for me as working as an officer on the street, my biggest thing is with children is that they had no guidance. They were lacking guidance. I mean, and it wasn't that the parents were being bad parents. It's that some of them come from different cultures. They didn't realize that they had to do certain things, and the kids, kids are very, very smart nowadays. They may be able to manipulate their parents in a certain way, letting them know, yes, everything's okay, and the parents feel that way, and then on down the road they find that they were being manipulated. So it's a thing that just be involved with your kids. Let them know that you care about them, let them know that you're there to help them, but you expect certain things from them. And good grades, and having positive friends, and being involved with sports. Being involved with something that's going to keep their mind clean, being around other people who are positive.
Now, I do know that I have a question that I haven't asked you.
Okay.
And from my heart, I can say this very directly to you. I truly appreciate the work you do for our community.
I thank you very much.
But at the same time, I have to realize that you are a police officer, and you are from a Latino background.
Yes, I am.
So you, by yourself, represent what we can achieve if we put our heart and our mind into it.
Oh, absolutely.
But my question to you is, how did you make it?
Guidance.
Uh-huh.
My parents had, there were 6 of us in the family, and my father ruled. You know, he let me know if I did something wrong, there was consequences I had to pay for it, and they guided me. And you know, this is a land of opportunity. You can do anything you want. I mean, the Hispanic population there's so many of us involved in so many different professions, and we do it well. I mean, you have that opportunity. You just can't. Young people can't make mistakes in their lives that are going to jeopardize their future, and they need to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you have the guidance of your father and your family and the support of them, and so I can understand your emphasis on family involvement. But at the same time, you are a living proof that we can achieve,
Oh, yes.
that we can become successful in our professional fields. What do you think about this idea that Latinos don't care for education or don't value education?
I think that those are based on percentages. From what I see from my first-hand contact is that most parents that come from those countries come here with the thought of giving their children a better life. Most parents want their children to do better than them. Some of them come here and they'll work labors just so their kids can go to college. I think that's a misconception in some areas. I think that most people want their children to do well, and most Latinos come here with a thought of of having all the opportunities that this country affords them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You heard it here. We have many resources in our community. Our deputy is a representative of them, but also Deputy Cuevas is a successful professional Latino. Thank you. Thank you for helping out.
Thank you.